let's look in a little bit more detail at the Permian rock that we've got here, remembering it's about 250 million years old. And basically, this is just a sandstone. But it's a sandstone that contains many pebbles or rock fragments that were once pre-existing. And if this was what we would call a mature sediment, been around a long time, and all these pebbles were rounded, you'd call it a conglomerate. But these are angular, largely, sharp corners on them. Therefore, there is an Italian word that is used called breccia, which is spelt B-R-E-C-C-I-A, the ch sound being Italian. So it's known as a breccia. And I just want to look, yes, there's fine-grained sandstone in here. The fact that it's red is important. Red is the colour of deserts because any iron that is in the rock oxidises, basically turns to rust. And so oxidised iron is red. Red rocks are nearly always associated with deserts. And this was a desert deposit. So this, where we are now, was a desert 250 million years ago. But what of the rocks that are in it? They're quite sort of loosely sort of placed in there. They're sort of, some of them are actually come out. You know, there's one. This is the mineral quartz. We've looked at that before. And the origin of this is probably the high regions of Dartmoor. So it's come sort of a reasonable distance. The other rocks that are in here are the slate. These rocks are actually encapsulated in this Permian sandstone. Now we know how old this is. It's 400 million years old. It's the rock that's underneath that this rests unconformably on. The other thing about it is that it's got a dip. It's got a dip going more or less in that direction. You can perhaps see it a little bit better in the cliff behind me, probably only at about 10 or 15 degrees, dipping towards the southwest. And this almost certainly was the edge, towards the edge of the desert, where there were flash floods. There would have been heavy rainstorms that would have brought all this material down into valleys. And this is almost certainly a valley deposit into something like a modern day wadi. And once it's all been brought down, it's solidified. It's solidified over time. This deposit will have covered the whole of South Devon. You can see it in Torbay quite clearly. You can't see it any further west from here. This is almost its furthest west. And it only forms probably about, what, a sort of a half a kilometre sort of outcrop in either direction here, and then it disappears. But it was many sort of hundreds of feet above us, and it's all been eroded.